Hello everyone, this is Aaron Fitch from ATF Gaming and welcome back to the channel for another predictions video. Today we are doing my predictions for the 2018 chase. I'm recording this at midnight right after the Richmond race was finished. So if there is any changes in the point standings based off of penalties after Richmond, then obviously these are not reflective of that, so that will change things. But I'm in no position to make another video. I put a lot of prep into this, a lot of statistical work into this, so I'm in no way ready to make another video. So these are point standings after Richmond. If there are penalties, if there's an encumbered win, stuff like that, this will not reflect that, but these are going to be my predictions for the chase. So here are the 16 chase contenders, ranked in order of how many playoff points they have going into the chase. So obviously Martin Truex Jr. came in first with the regular season championship, and he has 53 playoff points altogether, and all the way down to Jamie McMurray, who has 3 playoff points, thanks to finishing 8th in the regular season standings. He hasn't won a single stage this season, so the only points he has is regular season standings points. So let's get started here. Round 1. Sorry if you hear some paper ruffling. I'm just getting all my statistics out here. Round 1, we have Chicago, New Hampshire, and Dover. So, let's just get right down to business. Obviously, this first round, most of the people who have lots of playoff points are going to be scot-free. There's not a chance, unless if they wreck out of all 3 races, that they're going to get eliminated, because they just are so separated from the people who have 5 or less points. So the first person, and I believe who's going to get eliminated and who has the worst total amount of average finish points and playoff points, is Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's going to be the first person eliminated. His average finishes at Chicago and Dover are over 20, and he only has 5 playoff points. So he is not going to make it to the round of 12. He'll be the first person eliminated. Along those same lines, actually slightly different, but similar average situation, Chicago and Dover, he had over 20th place finish averages. Second person eliminated is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, he obviously has 10 playoff points, which is 5 more than everybody else, but his average finishes at Chicago and Dover, and really not having a spectacular average finish at New Hampshire, really took me out of the formula here. If I didn't mention this already, my formula is I'm assigning the amount of points that they get for the average finish in the last 3 years at each track. So, for example, I'll just use Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. has an average finish of 7th place at Chicago, so he got 30 points from Chicago, 9th place at New Hampshire, and 6th place at Dover. So that was, and then adding on his 53 playoff points to those finishes, he got 142 points for this round. So that's kind of my formula here, so just so you know. So Stenhouse, again, similar situation. Even with the extra 5 points, I don't think he'll make it to the next round. Obviously, the second round has Talladega. So if Stenhouse can make it to the second round, he does have a good shot at finishing well at Talladega. But in my predictions, he will not get that chance. Next in the cut downs is Jamie McMurray. Jamie McMurray has the least playoff points going into this, and he has plus 15 average finishes at New Hampshire and Dover. And his average finish at Chicago is only 13.5, so 14 in my eyes. So really, he does not have the average finishes, plus only having 3 playoff points going into the playoff is not going to let Jamie McMurray get past the first round. So, last on the chopping block is Casey Kang. Casey Kang also has plus 15 finishes at Chicago and New Hampshire. He does have a good average at Dover, but unfortunately, with only having 5 bonus points and having the subpar average finishes at Chicago and New Hampshire, are not going to allow Casey Kang to get past the round of 16. So, those are your 4 drivers eliminated, and here are your round of 12 candidates. We still got Truex, Larson, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, and Matt Kenseth. Those are the 12 drivers I'm predicting will be in the round of 12. Alright, so round of 12 cutoffs. The first person getting eliminated is Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott has over 20th place finishes at Charlotte and Kansas, and he has over a 15th average finish at Talladega. So that accumulated with in addition to only having, what did he have, like 7 playoff points, or 8 maybe? That's going to not allow him to get past this round. Second elimination is Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney also has plus 20 average finishes at Charlotte and Talladega. He does have a 7.5 average finish at Kansas, but unfortunately that's not going to be enough to be a saving grace, especially with only having, what, he had like 7 playoff points. I put that sheet of paper away, so I'm a little lost there. But, so, Ryan Blaney's going to be out. Now, here's where things got interesting. I put this entire thing together, and I had a rough draft of this before the Richmond race. And before the Richmond race happened, at this point in the video, I had Kyle Larson getting eliminated, because he was so close in points to these next 2 drivers. But with the 5 bonus points he won at Richmond, and the fact that he got 2 more bonus points by moving up in the standings ahead of Kyle Busch, actually made the difference in Kyle Larson getting to the next round in my predictions. So, this is where things start getting a little different from my rough draft. But the next person eliminated is Matt Kenseth. Now, Matt Kenseth was the person who actually made it to the round of 8 in my rough draft. But the combination of him losing points, playoff points, because he dropped a position in the standings, and the combination of having Larson moving up, actually eliminated Kenseth. He had the least playoff points of everybody left, tied with Newman and Kurt Busch, and he had a plus 20 average finish at Talladega. So that really doomed Matt Kenseth. He actually had a relatively decent average finish at Charlotte and Kansas, but it just wasn't enough to save him from Talladega and the fact that he was already behind in playoff points. Now, the next prediction might be a little bit of a surprise, but this is going to be the last person eliminated in this round. It is Denny Hamlin. Now, Hamlin has been on a really good stretch lately. He's been really good at some of the smaller tracks, some of the not mile-and-a-half tracks. But with this round being Charlotte, Talladega, and Kansas, Denny Hamlin's kind of at a disadvantage compared to some of the other tracks that are in the chase. So he is going to be the last driver eliminated. He has a plus 20 average finish at Kansas and a plus 15 average finish at Talladega. So even though he has more playoff points than Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman, those average finishes are not enough to get him into the round of 12. So, or through the round of 12 to the round of 8. So here's your round of 8 contenders. We got Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Ryan Newman. So, usually you would think at this point, playoff points would not make much of a difference. But if you look at Truex, Larson, and Busch, their playoff points are so much more than everybody else. Even if they had a rough race, they would probably still be able to advance. But my statistics, I gotta change the page here. My statistics have it as this. Oh, I forgot to make a change in my notes, but that's fine. Let me get my paper out here. The first person getting eliminated is Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has a plus 20 average finish at Martinsville, which actually surprised me a little bit. I thought he did pretty well at Martinsville, but his average finish is 24th at Martinsville. So that, with the fact that he only has 5 bonus points, pretty much sealed the deal here in the round of 8 for Kurt Busch. Next elimination is Ryan Newman. Again, he has only 5 playoff points to his name, and he has really not the greatest average finishes at these 3 tracks. We have a 13th, a 13th, and a 17th. So that accumulated with only the 5 bonus points. Ryan Newman will not get to the championship round. He will not get a chance to spoil the chase again. So these 6 drivers are 6 drivers who are obviously the class of the field. Some may say that Jimmie Johnson has been struggling lately, but he always manages to put it together. He always does in this. So Jimmie Johnson, unfortunately, is the next person eliminated. He has an excellent average finish at Texas, but Martinsville and Phoenix are struggle spots for Jimmie Johnson. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to overcome that. But Texas is a really good track, so if he wins at Texas, then he could probably get his way in. But Jimmie Johnson is the next person eliminated according to my formula. And lastly, Brad Keselowski is the last elimination. Keselowski has really good average finishes at Martinsville and Texas, an 8th and a 9th. But Phoenix, he's at an average finish of 13, which you might think would be enough to make him into the round of 4, but that's just not enough with the average finishes of everybody else here. Harvick has average finishes of 5th and 3rd at Phoenix, and everybody else can basically get their way in on playoff points. So that leaves your final 4: Truex, Larson, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick. No real surprises in my predictions thus far, but here's where things might get a little hard to predict, because these 4 are so close to each other at Homestead. So, my 4th place finisher is Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch in the last 3 years has a relatively good average finish. He obviously won the race to be a champion a couple years ago, but when you look at his career stats at Homestead, he really isn't that good at Homestead. So, because everybody was so close in the last 3 years, I had to look back at average finishes across their career in order to make my decision. So Kyle Busch is finishing 4th in the championship. Finishing 3rd is Martin Truex Jr. Now, me personally, I would love for Martin Truex Jr. to win this championship, but he has been terrible at Homestead. He has an average finish of 24th at Homestead over the last 3 years. So that's just not enough for me to be convinced. His career average is a little better, 12th overall, his career at Homestead, but it's just not enough for me to get him any more than 3rd place. He doesn't have the bonus points to fall back on in the final 4. So Martin Truex Jr. is going to finish 3rd in the championship. Finishing 2nd in this championship between Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick is Kyle Larson, which means Kevin Harvick will be your 2018 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series champion, his 2nd career championship. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick for winning my predictions. Here is why. Kevin Harvick has the best average finish at Homestead over the last 3 years, and over his career he has the best out of the 4 drivers in career average finishes at Homestead. So that led me to put him over Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson has an excellent average finish both recently and in his career, but it just wasn't enough for me to get him over Harvick. So Kyle Larson finishes 2nd, and Kevin Harvick wins the Monster Energy Cup Series championship. So that's my predictions. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have a bunch of predictions. I decided to use more math-based predictions here instead of going with my heart. But overall, I do think this is a reasonable prediction. I do think Kevin Harvick is a reasonable person to win this championship. So that is it. That is my predictions. Feel free to leave some ideas in the comments why you think I could be wrong, you could be right, stuff like that. I would love for this to be a huge viewer interaction thing in the comments, leaving your predictions. Be sure to enter whatever contests there are for these Chase predictions video. You know I will be with these predictions. So I look forward to hearing you guys' ideas in the comments. And that is it for this video. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to see more content from ATF Gaming, be sure to hit that red subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.